Good afternoon and welcome to Youth Vision here on Power of Purpose Radio, where we encourage and inspire our youth to make their visions a reality. I am so excited that you are tuning in today because we have an awesome show for you today. I have an awesome guest. Her name is Aaliyah Epps. She's an author of this awesome book, Disorder, and you're just in for a treat today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited that you were able to take time out and come and, just encourage everyone today because, there are a lot of young people, and young adults, living with different disorders and, sometimes they just need someone to uplift and encourage them,
Yeah, they certainly do. I think it's a blessing anytime God gives us what we consider a burden, and then just through trusting Him and walking in faith, we get to see that, okay, this isn't really a burden, it's a way to be a vessel to help others.
Exactly. So tell us and tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
It's not much to know. I'm 29 years old, and I attend Maximum Life Christian Church, and that's about it.
Awesome. So, Aaliyah has written this book entitled Disorder, and I have started reading this book, and I'm personally touched by this book. So, what inspired you to write Disorder?
So, in 2008, Keith Battle, he's the pastor of Zion Church, he witnessed me have a seizure, and he came to me and was like, hey, after doing some research and stuff, I think this is like really powerful. You need to write a book on that, and you should call it Disorder, like a play on words, disorder.
Right.
And my immediate response was no. And then October of 2015, Hallelujah Night, I met a couple that changed my life. Their names are Danelle and Gregory Gainey. I'm just so incredibly in love with them. And she has a single called God is Real. Mm-hmm. And before she sang her single, she gave her testimony about her son, Gavin. And when she started talking about Gavin, I was like, hold on. Her son's brain, it doesn't communicate with each other, and my brain doesn't communicate with each other. So after she blessed me so much, I was in tears. I had a chance to sit down and talk with her and her husband and just encourage them, like, okay, I know what the doctors say. I know some of the battles you've been through because I've been through the same things, but, like, here's what I've been able to accomplish despite what the doctors have said. And so just through them asking questions and really feeling like there wasn't resources, especially from a Christian perspective, I was like, okay, God, I'm ready to sit down and write this book. So they are, Gavin Gainey is the absolute reason why I wrote Disorder.
That is just amazing, to have someone, at such a young age to really inspire you, and it helps you to become, or have that platform to inspire someone else, going through these situations. And, you're saying that this pastor had witnessed your seizures. What causes your seizures?
Okay, so everything causes my seizure. I have the rarest form of epilepsy. It's called simple partial epilepsy. And what that means is that your brain is just going like this with electricity, just troubleshooting, trying to figure things out. So I'm never actually not having a seizure. Even as we speak right now, I'm having a seizure. My brain is overburning brain cells. What happens is when it gets this little troubleshooting in one area of the brain spreads, then you get to see the convulsion. Then you get to see the lack of motor function. Then you get to see me like go unconscious. But I'm always having a seizure. So I'm never not having one.
Wow, that's intense. That's just very intense. It's just like a lot of people think, disorders and disabilities are always something you physically see. Mm-hmm. And, these things are not always physical. They're always, they can be on the inside. You just never know what someone's going through. Mm-hmm. Like, I had someone one day say something to me, about, like, why something happened. I can't remember exactly what it was. And I was like, well, I have lupus. I said, you can't see on the outside because it's more of an internal thing. And, it's like a lot of people tend to be quick to judge because they don't have that knowledge. And it's good to, have these platforms to reach out and educate people on these things.
Yeah, I think that's excellent. Apostle Latanya, she blesses my heart. When I was talking to her about like my struggle within the community as a whole, Christian community, the community I work with, she said you have to give out more of what you want. So if you need people to be patient with you, you have to give out more patience.
Exactly.
Oftentimes when people come in contact with me, they think I'm mean. And it throws me off because I'm like, what makes you think that I'm mean? And they're like, well, you just sit there and you just stare and you don't really talk. And I'm like, oh, no, it's because I can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you come up and you talk to me and I seem a little distant, I'm not trying to like blow you off.
Right.
I'm just zoned in somewhere else, So you have to be patient because a lot of people, people are familiar with diseases that get social media attention.
Right.
And that's no shade to people who have those mainstream diseases or whatever, I think everybody needs support for everything. But when people come to uncharted territory, they oftentimes don't know how to react or, what to expect and things like that. And so, like you were saying that people treat you a little different when you can't see what's going on. You don't want to see me have a seizure. You don't want to see me not be able to talk, because then it scares you. Now you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So you just have to be patient. We all struggle.
Exactly. And, it's a daily walk. It's something that, we have to deal with on a daily basis. But it's like, we know how to deal with it. But it's like I said, educating other people to know how to spot these things or how to, deal with these things when they happen. And so how old were you when you like really started, or your family really started noticing the disorder?
So here's the thing about the enemy, because he's on his job. I would give him credit. He stays on his job. When my parents divorced, everything became the divorce. It's like Aaliyah's hungry. Oh, it's because of the divorce. So there always were little indications that something was off.
Right.
But we just attributed it to the divorce and the separation and the impact that it had. For the most part, I lived a very normal, active life. I was in ROTC. I spun rifles.
I was there.
You did ROTC?
Yes,
I
4 years.
I did 3. It was great. I can speak 3 different languages.
Really? What languages do you speak?
I can speak English, Spanish, and ASL.
I did not know that.
Learn something new every day. So, I was active in ministry and all kinds of things. We just knew that there were like little quirks about me. I was at school. I was a junior in high school, and I was part of this program called International Baccalaureate. And with that program, like, your stuff is sent to a different country. Like, you don't really meet the people who grade your stuff, right?
Right.
So I'm filling out the form so they can mail my stuff off, and I black out. Like, I don't know what happened.
Oh, wow.
I was out. And they said it was about for 45 minutes, and they just were like, when I got to the hospital, like, well, maybe she just didn't eat today, kind of brushed it off. But then it kept happening and kept happening. They spent 6 months going to every different specialist, and at the time, I was considered big, but I think like a size 16 is like the national average.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, oh, she's black and she's fat, so she has diabetes or some heart problems. And, we kept trying to say, no, I'm kind of healthy. So after 6 months, they finally sent me to a neurologist, and immediately he found that my brain has not been functioning my entire life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. So, disorder. Tell us about your book.
Okay. So the book, they really created with the titles and covers and stuff. The book is actually called Disorder: A Closer Walk with God. And in the Bible, where I gain my strength from is His Word. In the Bible, there's a lot of people who've gone through things like Moses. Moses had a speech impairment, and he had that issue to go through. And so I feel like because Moses had that, it caused him to be closer to God. Like he constantly had to go to God for strength. Just like when Paul had the thorn in his side. He's like, I've gone to God 3 times and he still hasn't removed it, but that's like what gives me strength. So that's why I call it a closer walk with God, because me being sick makes me like, I have to. Like I literally have no control over my body. I don't have control over my body. God absolutely has total control over my body. So I have to be close with Him and be very in tune with what He needs from me. And so it just kind of like goes through, not so much my life. I mean, obviously I talk about my life, but it's more so like what it's like to have a disorder as a Christian. Yeah.
That's, and that's actually, a good thing, because a lot of Christians and a lot of people in the Christian society, it's like when someone goes through certain ailments, it's like people react differently, within the Christian culture. And you got the people that's like those real serious ones that's like, well, I'm not gonna take medicines, I'm just gonna let God deal with the whole thing. Then you got those that's like, well, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna take my medicines and still walk in faith that God is gonna heal me. And it's, everybody has their different views with within the Christian society. So in the book, I've read a list of medicines that you used to take, and you say you don't take them anymore. What, like, I know like each medicine serves a different purpose. Some serve multiple. What made you like really not want to take them or stop taking them?
No one wants to be on medicine.
Well, I agree with that.
No.
I totally agree with that.
That's the honest start. Now with epilepsy is like this big blanket, and then there's different types of epilepsy. So I was diagnosed with epilepsy when I was 18. It wasn't until I was about 21 that they had more of an idea of what type of epilepsy I have, because with simple partial epilepsy, because it troubleshoots in your brain, it starts at one point and it can spread, you can experience any type of epilepsy there is. Yeah, so it becomes hard to treat something when you're seeing like, oh, well, this points to this and this points to that. So I was taking all these medications, and it wasn't reducing the amount of seizures that I was having. And the side effects, oh my God, the side effects were just insane. It's like, you're in school. I was going through Campus Crusade for Christ to become a missionary at the time, and there's a constant fog that follows you when you're on certain medications. It's like, it's supposed to keep you level, but you're leveled because of this fog that you can't get past. So out of an act of faith, I was like, I was talking to my mom about it. She's a registered nurse, and I kind of gave her my concerns. And I was like, I just kind of want to like give this to God, because, I'm still having seizures. The medicine is not really helping, and I have the side effects to deal with, and I need to be able to function. So my mom prayed about it, fasted about it. She's super duper intense with the fast, and I wish I was there. I'd probably be a little bit smaller. But so I gave up the medicine and was put back on some different ones. I was visiting my hometown of Syracuse, New York, and I gotten sick there. And the doctor was the one who said, you have simple partial epilepsy. That's the problem. And so medication at its height, at its optimal level, is only going to reduce 30% of the symptoms that you're having.
Wow.
So it's going to reduce at most 30% of the symptoms, but you still have the side effects. So now it becomes a choice, like, is it even worth taking the medication? And he was like, your body's best defense is your body. So since then, I haven't been on medication for epilepsy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's just, just to know, like, the side effects of medicines, because a lot of times you got to take medicine to prevent the side effects of certain medicine. And I think that's why half the time I'm on the 13 I'm on.
Oh,
and I'm just like, I don't like this.
Yeah, and this was pre-Obamacare, so it wasn't these dollar copay. You paying real money.
Right. And, it's true because, anybody out there that, takes medications, would know, like, a lot of the side effects suck.
Yeah.
Like, I know a lot of the, like, I take, certain antidepressants, and it's like, they just make you feel so groggy. I'm just like, I just want to sleep. I don't feel like dealing with the world today. It just, like I said, it's just like that cloud. It's just like, you just don't want to deal with it. So but it's good to know that, they were able to see that, because sometimes medications can tend to make things worse, if not better. In the book, you have a section in there that talks about overnight celebrity. What is that about?
Overnight celebrity. So, okay. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't really think of one. When I got diagnosed and really understood how having a disorder was going to impact me, the person that I was prior to, like, knowing what was going on and the person that I became afterwards were two different, like, they're just two totally different people. And it was kind of like, not like a rebirth, because a rebirth sounds like really profound and interesting and good. It was like a loss. Like, well, I'm losing what I had, and after a few years, I kind of just like stepped into my normal. Like, I have to own this. This is who I am. And when you just walk in the fullness that God gave you, like, God created each and every one of us uniquely and wonderfully. Like, the Bible says that He numbers the hairs on your head. Like, that's just insane. When you really start to look at, like, the Prince of Egypt song, look at your life through heaven's eyes. Like, when you start doing that, then you really become okay with yourself, and people are drawn to confidence. People are drawn to people who are okay with them. Even if, like, you struggle, if you're okay with the fact that I'm struggling, you're good. So it just was like instantly everyone knew me. Instantly I was getting booking engagements. Instantly I was on BET Nightly News, and I was getting awards and stuff like that. I had to start turning down shows to go to and things like that. And that was just from doing ministry with Campus Crusade from Christ, and then I used to do spoken word as well. So yeah, it was a blessing. But it was like I kind of just want to, like, go to IHOP and eat pancakes without somebody, like, stopping me.
Right.
At the same time, yeah. Like, I'm a very shy person, and I'm very private. So,
right.
While I love that God is able to use me to impact somebody, I kind of also just want to, like, eat my pancakes in peace.
And, that, it's like you said, it's a good thing that, you're able to use these things, to inspire somebody, because it's like you never know who your life touches. And it's awesome that people just come up to you and they know who you are. But I agree, sometimes you just want to just leave me alone, let me eat my food in peace, and just and just chill. So that's definitely a blessing. And I kind of want to go back to the the epilepsy a little bit. And there's a list in your book that tells you what epileptics have to or should stay away from. Can you kind of give some examples for people that may not know? Kind of just like...
We can read
some
of them.
Yeah.
Thank God for references, right? So we'll just go over, like, the first probably 5 activities that epileptics should avoid: video games, extended computer use. The recommended time on a computer is about an hour. Television, swimming, driving, taking baths, and participation in activities that can cause loss of awareness, such as, like, biking, hiking.
So any strenuous type things.
Yeah. And the list, it's long. It's a long list.
And it's... a lot of times, people don't know that these types of things can affect people. And like I was sharing with Aaliyah earlier, I said, people with severe chronic migraines like I have, we gotta stay from any type of strobe lights, because I remember one time I was at a party and they had strobe lights, and I completely blacked out and had seizures. And my doctor was like, you can't be around these types of things because it just messes with your brain and your head. And, people around was like, we didn't know what was going on, what caused it. And it's good to be aware of, these different things. And a lot, through talking, you've really showed that you really lean on God the most. And it's like, how has your faith in God and, your belief in God really help you, through this, day-to-day basis, and how has it strengthened you, through all this?
Well, if I can have a moment of transparency,
Go right ahead.
Most people take the shape test that tells you like your spiritual gifts after you
Right.
take it. So on the faith spectrum, I'm actually kind of lacking. My faith game is not as strong as I would like it to be. I think the constant battle becomes like, I know my limitations.
Right.
And knowing my limitations is like, but how, God? Like how? And going back to Greg Gainey, he's just awesome when he talked about, while it's unfortunate that Gavin has to grow up in restraints. Like, I didn't grow up in restraints because we didn't know what was wrong with me. But Gavin having to grow up in these restraints, when they at least knew prior to him being born what they were walking into. And Greg said the most powerful thing. He said the miracle is not in the yes, the miracle is in the no. So the miracle, for me, is like, okay, you can't drive, but you're still going to get to your job early. You're still going to like be able to go to the grocery store by yourself. Like, at any given time, you can go unconscious, but like, even in that, I'm going to have you minister to people. Even in that, people are not going to know that something's wrong with you. And when they find out that something's wrong with you, it's going to amaze them. And that's going to be a miracle. We all know that God is a healer. I've seen him do it. Instantly, he can heal. And then the people who were there, who witnessed it, they get to take part in that. And then, you go tell others. But, like, to be a constant miracle, you know what I'm saying? Like, constantly, every day. Every day I just have to like, okay, God, here's my body. You do what you do.
Right.
And then I'm just going to trust you with it. Yeah, that's a daily thing. You have no choice but to be close to God. It forces you to find people that you can relate to in the Bible. Like, has God done this before? Because like I said, my faith isn't that strong. So I had to look to other people that God, was able to use in the Bible and use throughout my life who've gone through similar things, and just say, okay, if God can do it for that person, then he definitely can do it for me. And like my biggest source of inspiration is Gavin. Like, Gavin lives fearlessly. Gavin lives like there's nothing wrong with him. And not only is there nothing wrong with him, but he's going to test the limits. Like, he's just up for an adventure, and it makes me want to like be up for that adventure too.
Exactly. And just knowing that is such an encouragement. And, I love, Pastor Sherry, our pastor at Maximum Life, I remember one Bible study, if I'm not mistaken. I'm paraphrasing, but she was saying how, it's one thing to see God do a miracle in somebody else's life, but it's just another thing when you see that miracle in your own life. And it's just like, you just can't really cease to just thank him enough, to, regardless of what the situation looks like, regardless of what's going on in your life, he still makes a way. And, it's just awesome. And, kind of going back to a little earlier when you had talked about, having confidence in yourself and just, knowing that, what's going on with you, you're going to live your life to your fullest. You're going to do it. What you have to do. And it's really good to hear that, because a lot of our viewers and our listeners, they may be going through something and they just don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to really have that self-confidence. within themselves. And I know for me, it's something that, I tend to still struggle with, it's having that self-confidence to be like, I'm going through this, but I'm still going to live my life to the fullest. And, what, if you could kind of just encourage the audience a little bit, with the self-confidence and with, those who do have a disorder, any type of disorder, to, just encourage them to live their life, to the fullest and the God-given potential.
Okay, I think the best thing to do for a person with a disorder is to take that off the table. Take that off the table and then deal with the issues, right? Because, like, as a teenager, so I was 17 when they started trying to find out what was wrong, 18 when they found out. At 18, my biggest concern was, like, am I going to look good on prom night? That's the concern that everyone goes through. Then you're not isolated. When you start talking about, like, well, I can't do this and I can't do this and I got to do prom, now you feel isolated because it's just you. So take your disorder off the table, because most times there's nothing that you can do about it. It's all about, like, communicating with the doctors and then taking that to God. What is it? Take the doctor's report, take it to God who's the healer, and see what he says and what he wants from you. And then leave it alone, because you can't change it. And then work on everything else. And I think oftentimes as a young person, we feel like confidence means that, I love everything about myself, right, and, I love my hair. No, I don't think that's what confidence means. I think confidence means that you're aware of what's right and what's wrong with you, and you've either with the things that are wrong with you, you've either accepted it or something that you're working on, so you're good. No one can come up to me and be like, hey, you're fat. No, I know I'm fat. You know what I'm saying? I eat chicken for a reason. It gets there. Or like, man, you have really bright hair. Yeah, I like that, though. I'm okay with that. It's like anything that's wrong with you. I hate the fact that I have a lazy eye. Watch a makeup tutorial. YouTube's the age of information. Hop on YouTube, get your makeup together. Like, pursue to live life the way you want to live life. Like, God came to give you life and life more abundantly. So just because you have an ailment, just because the world says you can't, God says, I'm going to give it to you more abundantly. So, like, the happiness that I feel like I have more happiness than regular people because I have more to be happy for. The Bible says, like, he who has been through much, who's been forgiven much, loves much. I feel like I love much because I've been forgiven so much. Like, glean to those things. And as a young person, like, stop trying to refute who you are. If you like to watch Avatar movies and manga and all that, then be that. Like, embrace that, because the greatest people are the people who are in love with what's unique about them. And God gave us each something unique, okay? And it's usually deposited into us at a very young age, but the enemy constantly is like, no, this is what's wrong with you, or you don't have enough of this. Let's say you can sing, and the enemy's like, well, but you don't look like a singer, or your voice isn't strong enough. Of course he's going to say that stuff, because that's your gift. He don't want you to use that gift, but God gave you that gift, so sing. If that's your gift, sing and perfect your craft and work at it. Like, you know what? This is my one talent. I'm going to work that one talent. Maybe God gave you 10 and you got a little more work. Work those 10 talents. Like, work everything God gave you. My goal in life, my absolute goal in life, is that when I die and I stand before God, I can say I don't have anything because I used every single thing that you gave me. I impacted every person that you put into my life. I tried that, and it's not a testament of me, because if we read this book, we find out I can't do anything. It's a testament of you. Even when I can't talk, Lord, that the fact that I can't talk touches someone because they've seen me talk and they thought I was normal. Like, that's where the real change comes in. But we can't do that until we give it to God. We have to be honest with God. We have to say, God, I'm angry. God, why did you make my nose big? God, why can't I lose these roles? Like, we have to give that to him and then find peace in the answer. Just peace. And God's that big, so if we need to be angry with him, he can take that. He can take it. He's still going to love us because he knows what he created. We don't know why our fat is going to help someone, but God does. You know what I'm saying? Like, you constantly have migraines. How are you supposed to impact people? You don't know how you do, but you got a radio show. You're impacting a lot of people. You just got to give that to God daily. And, like, as Christians, We set these unreal expectations that God never gave the expectation. I always had to be on time. I always had to have the right response. That's not an authentic relationship.
Right.
Like, talk to that man. Like, God, today I can't do it. Today, you know what? I can't feel my arm. I don't want to go to work. I want to stay here. I'm going to be sad. I'm going to eat a bunch of cake. I'm probably going to gain some more weight. I'm not doing it. You get that, have that. It's going to make you closer with God. It's like with any relationship. When you argue with someone and then y'all come out of that argument, you're closer. God is not exempt from that. He's not. At our youth today with social media and the information age, we feel like we constantly have, not only do we have unrealistic expectations as a Christian, we have unrealistic expectations of ourselves. Take all of that off the table and give it to God. And let's not be a victim. God gave this orders to people who can handle it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
If you have headaches, that means God feels like you can have headaches and you can still do this. Not you can't do this because you have headaches.
Right. He won't give you more than he knows that you can bear.
Right.
It's just, awesome, just to know that, that's just the type of God that we have. He's so loving and so forgiving, and he knows everything before it happens. He knew us before we were formed in our mother's womb. And it's like, he knows that we can do this. We just don't see it, and we allow the enemy to come in and blindside us from everything, because we do have a greater purpose. We do have, the strength to fight and to press on and defeat the enemy, even when we don't feel like we can. That's when you just give it to God even more. And, I love, the fact that you say, just cry out to them. If you're going to be angry with God, you'll be angry. He can take that. And it's like a lot of times when people, think, oh, you got to talk to God, pray to God. It's just a prayer. But it's like it's not just a prayer all the time. You talk to God just like how we're talking. Just like you're talking to your best friend. Just wherever you are, just be like, hey, God, good morning. Thank you for waking me up today. Look, I can't today, this is how I'm feeling. I just really need you to help me through this, just be you, when it comes to God. And, it's just, I'm so, so, so thankful that you were able to come on the show, because I have truly myself been blessed, and, sitting over here, like, trying not to tear up a little more, because it's like, because I needed this today. I haven't had the show for 2 weeks because I was away, and it's like, just being able to come back and, start back off real strong, and it's just, an encouragement for myself to, like, what, you're going through something, your face is lacking a little bit, but you can keep going, you can do this, and, it's just so awesome, and, to have awesome friends and sisters in Christ that, are able to come uplift you. And it's good to keep, people who have a relationship with God in your life, because sometimes we don't know what to do. We don't know where to turn, who to turn to. We don't really know how to go to God, and it's good to have someone to come in and help you through that, and to intercede for you, and to lift you up and encourage you. Because I know just from, being in church with you for like the past year now, it's like just seeing what you've been through. 'Cause I've seen you have the seizures in church. I've seen, these things, but yet you get right back up like nothing happened. And it's like, that's how we should be sometimes. We shouldn't let these things keep us down.
Oh, they keep me down, just not in front of folks.
Well,
yeah. You got to bounce back up so people aren't scared. And then when you go home, just like the Bible says, like in your closet, when you get at the God, and then God uses people. God uses people. I challenge all the young people, okay? You got to identify who's in your circle. Jesus even had 12 people on his level. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, I mean, Jesus' ministry was that big, though. You might not have 12 people. The average, when I did my research, the average person had like 1 or 2 people on his team, you know? So, like, with Moses, you know, had his issues, and Aaron was, like, his side.
Right.
God, anytime God puts something in place, he's going to put something with you. Joshua had Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody was like, we ain't going to do this. Joshua was like, I'm going to do it. Caleb was like, yeah, Joshua, I got your back. Like, God is going to place somebody in your life specifically to pour into you. You know, that you can go to and you can be weak and vulnerable. Everybody can't handle what you're going through. You know, sometimes people feel like you're complaining, or sometimes people just don't know what to do with this, so they kind of shy away and shut down. But God specifically placed someone who understands your craziness and weirdness, that's going to uplift you when you feel like you can't keep moving. And I'm not exempt from that. You know, I'll put on a strong face, and then, like, I go, like, cries, and I'm a baby to that person. So, like, look for those people that God has placed in your life specifically to pour into you. Not talking about to hang out with, not talking about, you know, do fun things with you. That you have that group, but who did God bring to you spiritually, on a spiritual level, that can minister to you and speak some life into you? Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
You can't.
And like you said, you know, it's really good to have those people. And I find a lot of times, like just recently, you know, Danielle, she, you know, I haven't, you know, been around much, you know, with my schedule, and, you know, she noticed that, you know, something was off, and, you know, she texted me, she's like, are you okay? You know, what's going on? And it's like, you know, she's like, you need to come back around and hang out with us, you know, have positive people so you can get back to where you need to be. And that's just the thing I love about that particular circle, because when something is off, they know. And they're going to, you know, bring it up and make sure you're okay. And if you're not, they're going to sit there and lift you up and bring you up to get you back to where you need to be. And it's just so amazing, you know. So tell our listeners how they can get Disorder, and how can they get your book, buy your book.
Okay, so the way you can buy my book is you can wait until September 9th when the new edition comes out. This was the original edition, and after we did the book launch for it and people started buying books, what happened was my mom's small group at her church, they all bought the book and read it collectively, had so many questions, and my mom came to me and she's like, Aaliyah, like, let's go over these questions, and I feel like some of these things should be addressed in the book. I feel like we need to go back and add. So we're in the final stages of that. But people can reach out to me on Facebook. My name's Aaliyah Epps, Aliyah Epps, EPPS. Send me a friend request or shoot me an email at Gmail. I respond to everything, and it's ALIAYA.EPPS@gmail.com. And I'll respond to everything, and then once September 9th comes around and the second edition is released, all of that information will be on Facebook, and there'll be a website to correspond with that, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. Again, I'm so happy that you came to share and to encourage everyone. And thank you for being an encouragement to me.
Thank you for having me. You've encouraged me too.
I'm so excited. So please, if you need to, contact her. Buy the book as soon as it's ready to come out again, and you won't be disappointed at all. It's an awesome book. I've read it for myself.
Thank you.
And, you know, just keep the faith, keep being encouraged, and regardless what type of disorder, what situation you're going through, you can still make it. Continue to trust in God and just be who you are. And just know that you can make your dreams a reality, your visions a reality, no matter what the situation looks like. And please tune in next Saturday. We have an awesome guest. Kevin Sullivan will be joining us. He's a minister. He does music, hip-hop, gospel. He's awesome. And there will be 12 o'clock next Saturday here at Youth Vision on Power of Purpose Radio. Thank you guys. Have a blessed rest of your weekend. We love you.